yourself and tell us about your role here.
My name is Ian Findley. I'm one half of Cali Cleve production team. My role basically in the creation of Losing Focus, which we're dropping February 24th, was more or less I had been engineering for a long time and producing records, and DEMRICK and I had been working together for a while and more or less discovered that any of the tracks that we collectively did together always came out really well. And so it kind of was just like the natural progression into, well, let's just create an entire album and be able to complete like a vision as far as having something where there's a lot of albums that I grew up listening to where if I hear the song on the radio or on someone's mix that they put together, I'm expecting to hear the next song. And so it almost makes me feel funny, like it's out of place because I'm not hearing it in progression with the rest of the album. Right. So I wanted to make something like that where people are so used to just putting in the album and listening to the entire thing where it makes them feel strange if they don't hear the next song coming after it because they all flow into each other and have a certain, it's a vibe that we wanted to create.
Sure. And how about yourself?
My name is Brandon. They made a couple songs out of Ian's room, and Ian was super busy, DEMRICK was busy, and me and Ian have been working together and worked together at the record plant years ago, and me and Ian just work well together. Like, I'll be here working on something, and then he'll come home, and then I'll have to go to work, and we just vibe together, and they did a couple songs together, and I just started working on it, and then it just kind of became this whole, like family, like in Mulberry Studios, like it's like the environment. It was just like organic. It wasn't like hey, come here, do this.
The environment that we tried to create, as far as like even just building this studio, we built this studio probably about right around the time that we started creating the album, where it was like so even to the point where the studio wasn't even finished yet, so we were just making and recording a couple of songs that are on the album in like our bedrooms because the studio wasn't finished yet. And it's just like, well, we are inspired and we want to keep working. And now then when the studio got finished, it was more or less like a movement that we were trying to create as far as like being able to go outside and if you skateboard, ride the half pipe we got in the back, or shoot basketball, or play pool, or come in here and play video games, but it was all about just having everybody always around. So then the music just, when we got inspired, we were already here, and so being able to hang out here when we're not making music was what created like the vibe of the record. Was more or less us always being in our comfort zone, and the inspiration, whenever it came, we had everything at our disposal to be able to just create flow without having anything like, oh, well, let's book some studio, let's go. Like having it be our own studio, there's no one breathing down our necks. Like we're here all day, every day. And
you're never on the clock.
Yeah, but also getting inspiration, like you say, jumping on a pool table or a half pipe or whatever to spark an idea.
Exactly, like being able to, at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. or something, like I might be ready to go to sleep, but then I also might be ready to hop in the studio for a few hours. And how many 6, 7 o'clock in the morning nights we've had in this building is almost where it's become like a regular thing. Like I'm up till 5, 6 in the morning every day because I'm just so used to creativity flowing at that hour.
Yeah.
I like it though. It's like a little commune over here where we have like, and DEMRICK and us as Cali Cleve as producers aren't the only people who come in here and record. Like we'll have other people around, so it's just kind of like, it's a creative energy that's over here, and when people show up, everybody feels it and everyone's comfortable here, and that's like when we built the studio, that's what we had in mind.
Sure. Yeah. So, DEMRICK, what were some of your favorite songs on the album and why? Give us a little behind the scene.
I mean, I think that it shifted over time. Like originally, the title track has been one that's stuck the whole time because it was the inception of the record. It's in 3/4 instead of 4/4 time, and a lot different than your typical music that gets released. And it's called Losing Focus, which we titled the whole album after. It's like, and it just set it off, set the bar for the direction we're going. But I really like the intro because of just what it means. Like if you take a look and if you look at the record and how it builds from the beginning to end, it's almost essentially a good understanding of how the whole album is going to be. Something that's just continuing to build, and it's a true statement of where I'm at artistically at the moment. I say a lot of stuff about how I feel about how I should be perceived, how I am perceived, how I'm living, what me and my people are doing, what me and my friends, and how we're making music and how we're living our lives and the mindset right now. And it's called We Still Up, you know. And if you listen to that record and you really listen to the wordplay, and I feel like I'm going in on it, and just the overall presentation of the song, it's just a true, you know, look into my life at this moment.
Sure. So, did you make this record with the deal in mind, or you just made the music and then found?
No, we originally did it independently. The whole thing was Losing Focus was blurring from what's on the radio, blurring from the status quo, blurring from what artists are trying to do. Like we just made an album that was true to us, and our plan was to release it through us, our way. Mm-hmm. And I got a call from Madchild and Kevin Zinger, who's his business partner, to come in and play the album. And we'd already shot music videos. We'd set a date. And they just really understood the vision and had a clear idea of what direction we're going in, and had a lot of great ideas about how to enhance that and take that even further. Mm-hmm. So with that, it just made sense to push the album back. We actually pushed it back 3 months and let them like really grab the wheel and steer it, you know, and try to help get it out there in a different way than we would have, you know, adding on to the way that we would have. And that's what made it so exciting, is because it proves that if you build something from nothing or from the ground up, it can actually go somewhere. So it's gratifying in its own self. I mean, it's my first project. I've done tons of mixtapes. I'm in a group with XZIBIT and Be Real. I mean, I've seen the whole world over, and I never made an album. So it's like actually that moment to sit down and make it, and I'm happy that I made it with my friends, people who are not working with this person because of this name or that name. I just made it with true musicians that I believe in, and we just made something that's going to last, and it's a real reflection of me and the people I fuck with, and like that vibe, that energy that I'm giving out to the world. So I just know that it's going to have value to people who can relate to it.
Sure. And like you say, you achieve creatively, but there's still the business of getting it out, getting people to hear it, and all that. So, and
it's something that while we were making it, we didn't really worry about. We didn't even think about it and keep that in mind.
Again, you're going to hit a home run creatively.
Yeah.
But in a way, you got to now hit a home run business-wise. That's why you team up and
shouts out
energize.
To Madchild, shouts out to Battle Axe Records, and just everything that has to do, that whole movement that he's created. I'm so happy. I'm blessed to be able to be a part of it, you know, and represent, because once he really told me what it is to be a Battle Axe warrior, and these fans that he's created, and this movement that he's like spearheading, he's at, you know. So I like the direction. I like what they're talking about. I like the idea behind what he's doing. So that's what made it so cool to join up with Battle Axe Records, because they have a good understanding. Like, they want to put out quality music, good music. They want to hit the ground running. They want to work. They want to get in front of the fans. Mm-hmm. They want to know. They want to make it personal, instead of making it just be like, oh, we're just releasing this and we're just
they're hungry for
doing whatever, you know. They just want the connection, because that's the kind of thing that's going to be able to last, and we'll be able to go out there and represent for people that live like how we live, because that's really what it is. I want to put the lifestyle element into the music, and that's why you see on this record I speak a lot about like what me and my friends are doing, what my people, how I see the culture moving, and what I want to add into hip-hop at this moment.
Yeah. We'll talk about the state of hip-hop, because obviously there's different levels, different genres, so much going on, but, you know, overall, what do you think's holding back more creativity, more growth?
I think there's a lot of good music out right now. Like, a lot of, it may not necessarily be winning Grammys, but it's out there. and people are selling records. Like J. Cole's new album was crazy. A couple years ago, Kendrick Lamar's album was crazy. To even see the kind of people that helped out going, you know, the records he worked on with Cudi, they're real, you know, progressive thinking records. Like, I think that a lot of good music is out there, and the eyes are back on the West Coast. There's a lot of shit happening on the coast, and it's a good time to be an MC, and it's a good time to be an entrepreneur and a businessman, and be smart about the way that you can get to your fans one by one.
Yeah. Kendrick winning the Grammy last night. I mean, there's more and more opportunities out there, you know. Just seems like perfect timing, you know, to think outside the box, you know, do what you really feel creatively, and then take that same passion into the business world and see what kind of team, what kind of synergy you can build.
Yeah, because no matter how big or small the, you know, the team or the, you know, quote unquote machine that is standing behind an artist or someone who's trying to put out a product and, you know, create like a following, just having people supporting us and the movement that we're trying to make, and just even with, you know, Battle Axe in general, like whether it be the artist that they stand next to as Madchild as an artist or stand behind as a label, like it's people that they believe in and they believe in the type of music, which is what I think creates really strong, you know, groups of fans that like the music because they like can relate to it or like are emotionally involved in, you know, it's not just like a record that got written by this person, performed by this person, but produced by this person and spit out on the radio. That there's records that are done like that are done well, but it's not the type of music that people like attach themselves to and like will follow, which is what I think that Battle Axe is trying to do as a label, which I think is, you know, the direction that we were going for, you know, at least when we started the record, planning on pushing it out independently. Being able to team up with them was cool, I thought.
Yeah, well, you got those camps like that, Strange Music, and of course, you know, Sub Noise over there, what Singer does, and all these different types of indie entities these days that can really...
Lifestyle brands.
Yeah, lifestyle marketing. It is music, it's events, it's touring, it's merch, it's...
Yeah, it's a whole way
it's to just outside the box.
Go about like living, you know.
So what's the biggest difference, DEMRICK, as far as mixtapes and this? Is this, were those kind of like dates and this is like a baby or what?
Yeah, like I just feel like something like that. But the mixtapes and all that stuff was just doing a bunch of different music and putting it together, and I had ideas of what I wanted to do, but like fully everything, like from the way we made it, the way we wrote it, the way we thought about it, talked about the songs, and did it all through the studio, did it all the correct way, everything from step one. It's from its inception to completion was thought out the whole way, and plus, you know, we just had fun with it. It's like now we were in here like mad scientists making records. I mean, we were doing what we needed to do to get to where we needed to be to, you know, make something dope, you know?
Perfect environment. No, less corporate, more creative.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what the album is. And so that's what gives it that importance. That's why I'll call it an album, and I would never call it a mixtape or a project or anything like that, which I refer to things in the past. This is just, it's an album. It's my first album.
As far as advice to other artists, do you think some people should move past that kind of mixtape kind of attitude and get more into making a statement? I
just think that the advice that I would give to artists is just, I don't know, man, the internet's right there. You can at least get to some fans right away.
Yeah. But you hear people, you know, putting out this mixtape all the time, and then like you say, this is an album. So
I put out a lot of mixtapes. Encourage
more people to do that?
I put out a lot of mixtapes and projects because all of it was original music. I never was rapping over other people's beats. But there's a lot that goes into putting out an album, and I think that everybody should go through that process, whether you do it on your own. I was seeing other artists doing it, and I was like, yo, I want to do something like that. I want to get into that mind state, but I had to wait till I was in the right situation to do something like that. So this was the perfect situation, perfect team of people, right energy, and a good understanding, because I had to go through all the serial killer stuff that I needed to see. So I I just guess what I want to say is that a lot of it has to do with timing. There's nothing wrong with doing a mixtape, doing an EP, releasing 3 songs on SoundCloud, whatever. You don't know what's going to crack or what the fans are going to take to. There's no formula for this shit ever. You just got to see things, and as you learn things and as you want to go after those goals, you just make sure you do it right. Like if you're going to put out an album, do it right from the beginning to the end. And that way you can stand behind it like that. So that's what makes me,
We all grew up on albums, though. Falling in love with an album. It seems like some artists use the term mixtape as an excuse. If it doesn't do too well, whatever, oh, that was just a mixtape.
Yeah.
An album is an album. We're talking about the Grammys or our favorite record collection growing up. You know what I mean?
I feel like some people, or at least the way that I always envisioned it, was a mixtape was more or less a way to release music and see what people will gravitate towards, but then also to, as an artist, kind of discovering like what music it is that you really like doing, or like what's your strong suit, and then being able to think clearly about like the creation of an album. Mixtapes I feel like are more just like songs put together, and just because they're in order doesn't mean that you could have done that anyway.
And that doesn't make that stuff not good. Like that shit, like sometimes that's it. Maybe you did just hit it out the park with the way you were just putting together music, and some of those things blow up. It's like sometimes they don't. It's either which way. You never know. That's why I'm saying there's no right or no wrong way to do it. I just felt like for me, whatever I was doing and what I had finally seen, like with going out with Serial Killers and seeing the fans like singing the words to some of these songs and seeing the name and the up there next to these legendary people, it's like I felt like I wanted to really go and put out something that was important, that I could really stand behind, and that I seen all the way through. And then to be able to do it with these guys made it even better, because we had been working on music for a while. So it just only made sense that if you're going to really go down that path, you'd want to do that either with a big producer that's going to take the time to really get to know you and try to bring the best out of you, or work with some people that have been believing in you for a long time and work with them because they're on the level now musically, and it's like bring the best out of each other. That's it. It's the only way. You got to have invested interest in music, sometimes to make the best shit. Like I even think about like I watched some old, and this is totally off topic, but I watched a YG interview, like original, like when he was just starting to get popping. He was like, man, me and Mustard, like we kicked it at the house and worked on music. We didn't leave a whole summer working on one tape, working on one project, just like to make sure to get it right. So that shit didn't happen overnight.
They lived it.
Yeah, exactly. To really make that music, and like those type of things is like that kind of dedication is what yields good results, and not necessarily that result, but I'm saying a result that you should be happy with if you really put effort into it.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Well, obviously you were inspired for this. It sounds like it's a complete, piece, and you're really moving forward. With all the traveling you did with Serial Killers, and obviously seeing these audiences, internationally and stuff. What's the highlight of that for you? Obviously, you're bringing a lot of that back to your project.
Yeah, well, I mean, the highlight of being with them is just the fact that I've had the opportunity to even work with Be Real and XZIBIT, and that I work with them so much, and laid a lot of foundation that they wanted to be in a group with me, and were willing to have my name right next to theirs.
Sure.
And go out on tour and have me right there with them, and we rock their classics and rock new songs that we created, shoot music videos, do interviews just like this. Like to do that with some legendary people that really made a mark in this game, it means a lot, So with that energy, I just seen that it was time. I spent a lot of my time coming up in the ranks of those legendary MCs. So it's like, you almost hit a point where like it's time to go out and do this, and it's like a natural progression, nothing rushed, nothing overthought, just the natural movement of everything. So I'm gonna bring the level of intensity that I've seen them bring to their projects into my own project with my own team, and that's how we're gonna make a difference. I mean, I believe I know that I'm proud of it, and any DEMRICK fan that's ever been out there who's been a fan of mine or seen me next to these guys and heard those songs or heard me on a feature and like something, I just want them to check it out, take a listen, and have an open mind and vibe. That's it.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. Now, when we talk about the medicinal, that whole culture, and obviously Be Real's like, one of the founding fathers, the spokesmen. Talk about the hybrid of, what you do hip-hop wise in this whole medical marijuana world.
I just feel like it's just natural. I'm just happy that, like, it's like the Prohibition time, like how they named their project, Be Real and Burner called their project Prohibition for a reason. It's actually, there is like something that I've never seen before happening with marijuana, and I think that it's going to go through and become legal, one state at a time. Like I was saying, I was on the Smokers Club tour with Be Real and Burner, and we were in Bend, Oregon, when the law passed, or the Congress passed that that it was like legal, or their state passed that it was like completely legal in their state, like medicinal, like you can just have it on you.
Yeah.
And then doing a show that night in front of 100 kids that were all there, just vibing and everybody celebrating that thing. Those are moments that happen in history that is cool to be a part of, and cool to see that this revolution is happening with marijuana right now. I just came from the Cannabis Cup over the weekend. It was amazing. Like, that's just the culture itself, the way that it's growing. It's awesome.
I mean, the culture was always there. The fact that it's become so less, of an issue you got to be hiding or worry about law enforcement. It's got to be incredible.
Yeah, exactly. But I was in Denver smoking next to a cop. I took a picture with him with a joint in my mouth and a bottle of some alcohol or whatever. But I'm saying, just to be able to do that, like, you would never imagine doing that. Like, things like that's cool to see.
Yeah, that wasn't even something I thought about when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like, it was even gonna be like legal, and it's not even really.
Weren't you in like an IHOP smoking weed?
In Colorado?
Yeah. No, that was in...
That was the funniest
Humble.
picture I ever saw.
Oh, that was in up north?
That's like hilarious.
Yeah.
Just doing shit, just being a part of some cool
Yeah,
shit
the
is what
free-
makes it dope. And it's like a custom... It's involved in all of our lives on different
Well, again,
levels.
yeah, it's these counterculture shows now, with
Yeah.
more concerts, more tie-ins,
Yeah.
to the culture. Incredible stuff. So as far as the independent release here, is it they're taking over the world as far as the release, or you do it different companies? Is
No,
that
that's one
they put it
company
out
for
everywhere?
both. Yeah.
Okay.
Only
And-
one company there, and then through Sony Canada up in Canada.
Okay. Now, as far as touring this project goes, what are your plans and ideas to take this music
Well,
on
I
the
just
road?
got off the tour. I just got off tour last week. I came home from being in Canada. Me and Matt Child went up to Canada to do an album run. So, met a lot of the Warriors up there, fans, and rocked it, It was good, like 14 shows. And I just signed with a new booking agency, and they're putting some stuff together for the summer. So, we're going to make it happen. Let's
Wow.
get out there, do something in L.A., obviously,
Yeah.
for the home base, and then go take it on the road, man, try to show it to the world.
Now, obviously, Canada is a different country, but sometimes you feel like there's just an imaginary little line north of Washington and Montana, But what are you, when you dig into Canada, now you're working with a Canadian, label, what's your feeling as far as the Canadians go? They've always been in the shadow of America as far as hip-hop goes.
I mean, this is my third time to Canada. I love Canada. And I judge it like that. I've got to see a lot of places. Australia. I've been to
You see
lots
some
of-
more of their music crossing
yeah,
over
like
here?
I met a lot of their artists and seen, met a lot of their fans, and hip hop's alive over there. I've been all around the world representing for hip hop West Coast, and I just know that the world ain't as small as like you might originally have, We all know the world is bigger now, obviously, but like there's still some narrow-minded people who really don't know. So and Match Out lives in L.A. and it is an American label now, but it's with a Canadian artist.
You have a Canadian tie,
Yeah, it has that Canadian
heart,
lineage
yeah.
there. I mean, that's where he had his hit records and
sure.
he made an impact all across the world. But I mean, was his home base.
Yeah.
So at the same time, it's a blessing, it's a privilege to go over there with him and rock with him and have him say like this is the next one that I'm rocking with. You know, it's happened in my career a few times, but it's really good to see it going down with a label and some people that want to help push it in that fashion, which is my first time going through that.
And being the international language, what are some of those other places you visited and just blew your mind? Like, I can't even believe they're going crazy for this shit over here. How do they even know what we do?
I don't know. Even like small towns in like Australia, in front of like a bunch of like Aboriginal people.
The outback, huh?
Yeah, like straight up crazy. You just would never think. That's not scenarios that you think that you're gonna go play a concert in when you're dreaming of going to play music or going to Iraq and performing in front of the troops with XZIBIT. Like, those are things that you don't envision a show scenario when you close your eyes. And when you're a kid dreaming about performing it, it's like when you think about the crowd, that's not the crowd that most people envision. You know, it's just like those things you just feel lucky and blessed that you're able to get a chance to go and see and participate in and see how music can take you so many different places and have you experience a lot of things you never even thought you would.
And talk about that for a second as far as, you know, some guys out here think they're a tough guy because they get a hold of a gun. You're over there with the troops. These are world wars. I know with XZIBIT and the whole napalm thing with the video. I mean, talk about how serious these people are defending our country every day.
Yeah, I mean, that was just an intense time in general. That was just trip was real intense, and the troops, that everybody was amazing. You know, from just the whole every base.
But those are the real soldiers, right?
Yeah, those are the real soldiers.
These guys aren't messing around.
Everybody in the crowd was strapped up, like girls with AKs and you know, rifles, or you know, AKs and handguns. Like everybody had two guns. They would be celebrating and partying while you're.
Right.
Took them a while. We might be performing in the mess hall or whatever, or the barracks or some shit like that, and they'll clear out everything, and if they're all in there, it takes them a while to get relaxed and get. But we got them going, and they had a good time. You know, X is a real personable person, and he brought along a good team, I believe, of people with him. Matt Alonzo, myself, DJ Fingers, and you know, we all good people. You know, so to go out there, it was a blessing. So, but it was, yeah, it's real out there. It's definitely crazy.
And in final here, as far as there's a lot of creative people, a lot of young people coming up, and they see the stars in the eyes. They see, okay, the glamour and the show and the hoopla and all that. But talk for a minute again, the advice or on the dedication it takes. Because I've known you for years doing this, and you got to pour your heart and your soul. You live it, you sacrifice. Talk about that. The people, the kids that think this is like get rich quick or the easy way.
Some people it could be, you know, just do it because you love it. That's would be my advice, and that's what I do. I do it because I love it. That's it.
How about you? Advice for young talent.
As far as that goes, I mean, it does take an immense amount of hard work and dedication. You know, like, people don't realize some of the overnight successes that they see aren't actually overnight successes. It's someone who might have been grinding for 10 years, constantly, you know, like, it's on the tip of my tongue, I can't remember the name of the band. I feel like I saw them at Coachella last year, where I heard a story where they were just playing bar scenes for 8 years, and then all of a sudden are winning Grammys, and it's like, these people are actually, like, pouring their heart and soul into the music, and regardless of how long it takes for you to find the exposure that you were looking for, they were just making the music and playing it because they loved doing it. And I think that's the only way to ever create like a timeless piece of work or something that people like really love, is doing it because you poured your heart and soul into it, you know. But yeah, I mean, advice for anyone that's young is basically, you know, work hard and see where it can take you, you know.
So if you love what you do, you're already successful. So the other success can come organically rather than trying to force it, which normally never happens.
Yeah, I mean, forcing success, I mean, you still have to have like a vision or, like, you know, inspiration or the know-how, you know, and work hard to get it. But yeah, I mean, you definitely have to. I mean, yeah, you got to work hard to get to what you want. That's what I'm really trying to say.
Don't have no plan B, motherfucker.
Yeah.
This ain't for a plan B.
Got you. Any advice, tips?
Do what you love to do, and if you work hard and stay positive, I really think good things come. That's what I've been doing, and met Ian, I met DEMRICK, like
the positive aspect, I
The-
think, you know, has like a big part in it.
Yeah,
you know,
like
the
if
mindset.
if you believe it yourself, then yeah, it's like the mindset that you have.
Like-
You know, like you have to believe in what you're doing.
no one's gonna. What's the saying? No one's gonna believe in you if you don't believe in yourself.
Yeah,
just like-
it's corny, but that is kind
It's
of
the
like,
truth.
you know,
Like, work hard, stay positive. Good things are gonna happen to you.
yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
do what you like to do.
yeah.
Don't, like,
if you're
work
doing
hard
some
at,
shit, if
like-
you're doing some shit you hate doing.
Nothing
I mean,
against
good
working
luck
at,
finding
like-
inspiration in that, you know. Which is why I feel like it's cool just to even have felt that music was the thing that, like, I mean, I grew up playing the guitar and drums and piano, and I even played the saxophone when I was a little kid. And it was really just about, like, it didn't matter what I was doing, like, music consumed my life, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel blessed to even be doing it as an adult, you know, as a profession, I guess you would call it. Instead of, like, punching a clock every day, you know. That's no
Nothing
fun.
against that, but it's just not for.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it seems like a great environment, man. We definitely appreciate you guys' time.
Yeah,
Very,
thanks for
very
coming.
excited about the album. Thanks so much.
Peace.